Coming up on this episode of Free Lunch.
I am learning to invest in me.
Oh, yes. The shared calendar is a life hack.
Oh, I don't know if any married couple need anything.
Get on
it's a shared calendar because we afford many things. We afford the things we want.
All right, now. Don't step on nobody's toes.
I
think you're stepping on toes now. Be careful now. I don't want nobody to be figuring out how to both hustle and still be present as a dad and husband.
Exactly, for your family.
That's on me because I chose to leave what was stable and venture off into the abyss. All the people that you're doing things for, sacrificing for, you end up resenting those relationships because you didn't love you. It's Free Lunch Season 3 with a special thanks to our sponsors, Bullseye-LLC.com, Ready, Aim, Bullseye, where safety is our ammo. Gen1LLC.info, Generation 1 Logistics, taking pride in putting our carriers first and helping owner-operators get premium loads, stay organized, and increase profit. And ScarletOakCandleCo.com, the self-care experts. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Freestyle Gospel, a.k.a. The Real Free, with another episode of Free Lunch. And I have the amazing author, educator, Patricia Bellamy-Mathis in the building, y'all. Give it up for. What's up, Patricia?
Hello.
Do people call you like Trish for short? Is that like allowed or nah? You like, no, my name Patricia.
No. So growing up, I was Trish to my family. And I think maybe middle school, high school is when people started calling me Patty. So
is Trisha or Trish okay with you?
Trish is fine.
Trish is cool?
Trish is cool.
Trish. So what's up, Trish? Yo, guys, when I tell y'all Trish, you know what? It's the fusion tea. She
I like the fusion tea.
She's giddy off the tea, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. But I ran into Trish before I, let you introduce the rest, yourself. Let her introduce herself, Frii. Okay. But real quick, I like to just always mention, why it is that I bring certain people on or how I came across them. And so my connection to Trish is actually twofold. One, I went to the Black Wall Street event in New Haven, where I gave out a bunch of, individuals, entrepreneurs, creatives, or whatever that were at the event. I gave them my business card to contact me. I wanted to have as many of, local small businesses represented on the show. And I was explaining to somebody, I was like, how all those cards I gave out and, contact I made with people, and they were like, really excited. It seemed like I only heard from 2 people. So Trish is one of them. And the added bonus is that her dad actually is one of my long-standing old martial arts instructors, that have known me since I was 7 years old. So I have not ever known Trish, Patricia, but I found out her because her dad was at the event. I saw, and I was like, yo, you know this guy? Like, do you know who this guy is? And she's like, no, duh, it's my dad. I do. And I was just blown away. But without further ado, please, Patricia, let the people know who you are, what it is that you do.
All right. So my name is Patricia Bellamy-Mathis. I am the owner, author, and publisher with Aspen's Library. Aspen's Library is a book publishing agency that I started in 2021. And we curate children's books that highlight, promote, and provide Black and brown stories. Positive Black and brown stories.
Yes. Very dope. Very dope. And that was 2021.
That was 2021.
Okay.
I also, as my day job, I'm also an educator. So I'm a director of a UConn program called UConn Husky Nutrition and Sports.
Nice.
And I bring students from UConn into Hartford Public Schools. Right now, we're in the north end of Hartford.
Fire.
And we do education around physical activity and nutrition and literacy. So
very nice.
My worlds marry in that way.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So how long have you been, I know the publishing company was 2021.
Yes.
But at what point was like your first journey into just authoring, you as an author, like writing?
Listen, so Me writing, actually,
or at least in the professionals, like actually like publishing a book of some kind.
2021.
Wow, look at that. That's amazing.
Yes. So it all happened in 2021.
You just jumped out the window. Like 2021 was like, listen,
2021.
this pandemic will not
this
keep
pandemic
me.
actually drove me to do this. It drove me to
How?
do this. I had the opportunity. So I had my daughter in 2020, my oldest daughter in 2020, 2 weeks before the pandemic. So
Wow,
it was,
that's crazy.
You know, we bringing this baby home. It's already,
You know what I'm saying? All smiles. She like, I'm about to live my best life. We about to be walking everywhere.
Listen, we about to be doing everything. We gonna be inviting family in,
That pandemic came along and was like,
the pandemic was like, pop your bubble, you home.
that's crazy.
You home with your daughter.
Hold on, so what month did you actually have your oldest daughter?
2020, February 2020. February 24th.
Like
so
a month prior, like.
Listen, I was going to a hospital visit maybe 2.5 weeks later.
Wow. And
they were setting up like temperature checks. And at the time, you know, we just in our infant world bubble. So we like, I'm like, what's going on? And so they were like, oh, the coronavirus is here. Like it's here and we setting up and like, so it was a wrap after that. We was home. We were home. So that's what really kicked things into perspective for me, I'll say. But it also so with my daughter, with her being born and with me being an educator, literacy has always been important. From the time I was a young kid, actually, literacy has been important. But with my daughter, I took the challenge of reading 1,000 books before kindergarten. And so it's just a literacy challenge that you want to read to your child daily.
You said you took the challenge of 1,000 books?
1,000 books before kindergarten.
So that you would read 1,000 books
Absolutely.
to your child.
To your child.
Before they go to kindergarten.
Absolutely.
Which is roughly how many years? Like what, 4 years? 5 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
where are you with that? Or did you already do that? Or is that done?
So I have to update our log, but I haven't updated it since the end of August. I just looked at it today. We have books like piled up on our nightstand and piled up on her room. And that's how I honestly like keep logging it. I probably log books every 2 weeks, but we're at about 850. Yeah. She's 2.5.
That is so fire,
She's
though.
2.5. We're at about.
Where'd you get this challenge from, or like the idea for this?
So
I've never heard of it. This is the first time I.
So you got to do it with your daughter.
Yeah.
Your daughter.
This is fire.
So I'm trying to think. My sister-in-law, my brother's girlfriend, she was doing this challenge with my nephew. My nephew just turned 5. He's in kindergarten. And I remember just thinking it was so dope. And so I ended up looking it up. It was something that like I kept in the back of my mind. So I was looking it up. And when it was time to, have my daughter, it was just like, okay, we reading to her. We keeping a log, like how we logging this. And it started out with just us, notes in our phone. Me and my husband have a shared app. She was home with us. She was home with us for 1.5 years because of the pandemic. So it was easy for us to know like who's reading what to her. Mm-hmm. So within that 1,000 books challenge, it just really, that's what really spurred the we could write a book too. So that happened.
That's fire.
Yeah. But so can I share another part of that though? Just to give a little more to so it wasn't just 1,000 books before kindergarten. It was also making sure my daughter had representation in her books. And so that's what really started it. When I was pregnant with her, everybody now does bring a book instead of a card to their baby showers. That's always the note, y'all. It's been a note.
You gotta bring these Pampers and wipes, man. All right?
Like,
appreciate the book, bro.
Bring a book instead of a card, and that's how a lot of people feel. But I was so passionate about that I asked someone. I'm like, yo, like, can I put books on? Can I put books on my registry? And they were like,
you can put whatever you want.
Right.
You can put a PS5 on there if you want. In my opinion, my wife probably feel different, but parents need gifts too during this time.
Hello. Support the parents, y'all. Help us out.
All right.
But yeah, so really it was me putting books on the registry that really like drove her library. So we ended up at our baby shower getting 100 plus books. They were mainly from my registry, which was all books with Black and brown characters. Wow. And so
fire, man.
My daughter started off with a dope library. And from there, I was like, you know, we're reading all these books and some are hits, some are misses. And so I was like, yo, like, we got stories to tell. I got family stories. And that's how I began to write my first book.
So how many books have you written so far?
I've written 2 children. I've actually full manuscripts. I have about 4 full manuscripts. 2 are published.
Okay.
And with those 2 children's books that are published, I also published activity books to go along with them.
So what are you waiting for with the other 2 manuscripts?
You know, just to be able to afford it. Woo, we self-published over here. Gotta a lot that go into the behind the screen. Behind the scenes,
let me tell you.
You know? The money.
Okay.
It's been amazing getting my books out there, but you know, it costs money.
How much money does it take to publish like one of your manuscripts the way you do it? Because there's different ways people self-publish.
Absolutely.
Right? Like my way particularly is like, you know, very like inexpensive, almost nothing. That's my strategy. But I know other people, they put a lot of like, you know, like marketing and like other thing goes into it. So for you don't have to go into details of what goes into it per se, but if you were to give me a ballpark figure, how much to publish one of your manuscript books in total?
To publish, okay, so I'll say to publish the books that I have published, has been anywhere, and this is just to get a book produced, not ordering books or anything, like not ordering hardcover
to sell yourself or something.
To sell yourself.
This is just to get the
this is just to get it up on Amazon
and available that somebody could get it.
Probably 2,000. It could be more. It could be more than that. People spend 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, it's finding the right illustrator. And that's
with
children's books, you have to
find that illustrator gotta be fire.
You have to find the cover designer. Make sure it's edited properly.
See, I'm fired with your phone light came on.
Oh.
2,000. No, I don't have 2,000 lying around. But the good thing is, what I love about it is that you don't seem like you are cutting corners.
I'm not.
And to me, that's what ultimately becomes the, you know, deciding factor with having success with whatever the thing is that you're releasing.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a book you're releasing, clothing line, you know, there's people that, you know, try to, you know, are launching clothing line, music, whatever it is.
Exactly.
And people are really, I think, a lot of people just don't, you know, it's true. A lot of people don't have necessarily the funding or money, but then I think there's a large portion of us that you do, except they're afraid or hesitant to put that amount of money in themselves. And I don't know why that is. I mean, has that been something that, like, no matter what it costs and it, you know, spending the amount of money to, you know, put out something the right way, is that a way or thing, like a mindset you've always had, or is that something that you've had to like develop in latter years, like being an adult? Like where did that come from in you? That kind of like spirit to be like, hey, listen, to get it done right the way I want, it's gonna cost this, and if I can't do it right, then I have to wait until I got what I have in place. So
I am very much if I can't do it the right way, I'm not going to do it until I can't do it the right way.
Because you know I know your daddy.
That is very
I know your daddy. All right. I know the kind of DNA is a little bit in there.
Listen. And I think that's the way it's the way I grew up. It's it's honestly like ingrained in me. Like if I'm going to do something, if my name is behind it, I'm going to do it properly.
Yes.
And so with that, it costs $2,000 to like put a book out there. Some people are like, "Whoa, you are spending way too much money," and some people like $2,000.
Ain't enough.
You found an illustrator for $2,000?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of like how you do things. I had to search high and low for my illustrator.
Yo.
And because I am so particular, and I have friends who are very particular, and I'm an educator, I got eyes on this book and this manuscript and was like, listen, I need feedback, and I need real feedback. I don't want I feel good about this. It's a good story. Nah, make sure my punctuation is proper, like all that stuff. And it's very frowned upon in this industry not to get an editor. But I was very much like, I sat on this book for 4 months after I wrote it. I didn't know where to go next. Yeah. So I sat on it for 4 months, and that whole time I'm reading and
you're talking about your first book?
My first book, yes.
Let me see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the title of the first book?
My first book is titled Down South for the Summer. Here you go.
Down South for the Summer.
Down South for the Summer.
When school is out for the summer, my parents get so excited. They've been planning all year and have everything set for us to take a trip down south. Yo, I love this. She had this book, guys, at the Black Wall Street event that I met her at. And this is just amazing, man. Like we need books like this. We need publishing companies, I think, that are dedicated to, bringing stories like this to the forefront, so our little girls and boys can see themselves, in a book, right? Because, that's what draws our youth now to like a particular TV show or something, right? It's like, when I can find some piece of myself in what I'm consuming, right? And then if we don't have that in books, then it's already an uphill battle to get kids to read, right? So even harder if they don't see, where is this relevant to me? I'm definitely not reading.
Exactly.
Yeah. No.
Exactly.
So this is really, really dope.
Thank you.
And you have now the two books that you have published. Did you use the same illustrator?
I used the same illustrator.
So once you found somebody good, you was like, look, I'm gonna stick with.
I actually I'm in the process. So in addition to like publishing for myself, I can also help other people self-publish. And so that's a part of why I started the publishing agency piece.
But if you have a publishing, if you're a publishing agency for somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that mean those authors are not self-published then?
So here's the difference. Right? So there are publishing companies, and then there are publishing agencies. So I help people. Here's the difference. A publishing company, they look at your manuscript, they pick your illustrator, they look at your manuscript and say, do we want to publish it
trash or not?
Right.
Do we want to waste our time on your product or not?
How do I feel about this?
Yes.
They choose your illustrator, and they market for you, and in that you get paid up front. And then
they collect the royalties and all the residual.
Yeah, they get you get some of the royalties that you get from your book. With a publishing agency, with what I'm doing, you pay me up front. We find the illustrator together. Like I have a team of illustrators that I've used.
That you'll recommend.
That I'll recommend, absolutely. And if you're like, okay, none of these illustrators really fit my vision, let's go back to the drawing table. Show me some of what you like. Yeah. And you know what? Now because now I'm looking for other people to hire on my team that's gonna get us to from point A to point B. But I have illustrators. I have, if you want, I have editors that I could recommend. And
So you're a publishing agency.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one called? Publishing company.
Yep.
Guys, don't you feel like it's just a play on words? They're tricking us out here, y'all. Company, agency, isn't it the same thing? Potato.
It's traditional versus non-traditional.
All I know is the publishing company, the way you describe it, sound like one of these mafia record labels out here. Listen, homeboy, we're gonna give you this $20. Take this $20 for your book. We gonna make this $1 million though.
Exactly.
After we cut you this check.
Ain't no shade to these publishing companies out here, but these big names, that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. You get your cut up front.
So for you, what's the benefit?
The benefit
cut for you
me is I get paid up front. I get paid up front. I do everything from finding your illustrator, helping you find your illustrator,
editor, all that
stuff. We get your book together, and you get your book. You get all of your files. Then you self-publish. and you take care of all the other behind the scenes.
What if I want you to do that?
So once I will not do it.
What?
I will not do it.
Don't everybody got a price?
Listen,
I can't pay you enough money to just do it.
People cannot pay me enough, y'all.
Why?
Because I don't feel confident doing something for somebody else that I haven't already done for myself. And right now,
But you've published yourself.
Oh yes, I've published myself.
Yeah.
But what a publisher, like, what you're going to expect me to do after I publish your book is market your book for you.
Not necessarily.
Because that's what publishing companies do. They market for you.
Okay, that's what they do.
Out to the audience.
But I could just not know the steps to just releasing it or putting it out on a platform or something.
No. I'll help you get there.
Oh,
I'll help
okay.
you get on the platform. I'll help you get on.
So you're just saying you just stop at the marketing piece and the hustle part.
Listen, once I got you on Amazon.
Yeah.
Or
the rest
Ingram Spark.
Yep.
The rest
is on
yours. The rest is yours. I could recommend companies where you can order your book in bulk copies, where you could do hardcovers.
Yes.
But I will not go beyond that because that is not the scope. I'm not confident in that. Confident enough in that to do it for other people.
So for the individual authors out there listening, or would be the want to be authors, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for a publishing agency. Not a company. Y'all better pay attention, y'all. Don't look for the publishing company. But they're looking for a publishing agency. Do you have are your rates different from author to author, or do you have like a flat rate for your service? Like, this is what my agency does. This is what it costs.
Yes.
No matter who the person is.
Yes.
What's the rate?
It really depends on what you were trying to publish. So I have a website.
What do you mean by when you say what you're trying to publish? Like either paperback or hardcover?
No. So some people want to do children's books, as in like picture children's books.
Okay.
Some people want to do like a chapter book, so they want to take it up a little further and do chapter books for the older. So it really depends. A journal. Some people want to do journals.
What's like the median fee, like you'd say? Middle.
I probably don't charge enough, y'all, and that's
you probably don't. But hopefully, the listeners think that it's not enough, and then suddenly you get like 100 people come to your website.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
You better be ready.
I got my team.
You better get your buckets of water ready for the fire to come down from heaven.
Listen, so $2,500.
Okay.
Yeah, $2,500 is what I'm charging right now.
So you need your $2,500 for Trish.
Yeah.
Then you need your $2,000 for the other parts that she don't handle.
It depends. Right? It depends.
So
it's marketing.
Listen, y'all.
The part that I'm not handling is marketing.
Listen, y'all. Get your 5 racks together. Basically, No, but in all seriousness, listen.
Go ahead.
What I want people to really get from this is a couple things. One, obviously, we already addressed that when you want to set your mind to do anything, right? Set your mind to do anything that is worth your time at all. Do it with a degree of excellence to whatever capacity you can.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, obviously, like Trish has already alluded to, right, she has a couple manuscripts that she hasn't published yet because she understands that the degree in which she would like it to come out and what she feels she's capable of costs this amount. And when I say capable of, I don't obviously, if she felt like she had a 2,000 now, it would have been done already.
Right.
When I say capable, I mean she feels obviously somewhere down the road in the near future, she can come up with those funds to do it that way, which is why she's okay sitting on it.
Absolutely.
Now, if she felt, whatever economic financial space she's in right now, I can't foresee, as far as I can look into my future, where I'm going to come up with 2,000. She might renegotiate in her mind and settle for another avenue and release it. But you do something to the degree of excellence that you can. Past that, looking at multiple ways to accomplish a thing. Now, what I will say is I did not put 2,000, 5,000 or anything into my first book that I self-published. And to date, my only book. I've only self-published one poetry book. And I was so eager to get the book out in the way that I wanted it to be out. I did the designing. I love graphic design, those things, right?
Yes.
I wanted to get it out when I wanted it out. I didn't want to wait really long and sit on it. And so I've probably self-publish my book for, if I total up everything I spent money on, maybe a couple $100 or less, $100 to $200, right?
Right.
Now, on the flip side of that coin, because I didn't put and invest much money in on the front end, that meant, for me, at least the way I see it, you tell me if I'm wrong, I had to go overtime into the marketing and all the steps afterward to get it in spaces or get it in front of people that I wanted. Right. And so there's a degree of like, when you have an excellent book sitting on a bookshelf somewhere in a nice store that has a beautiful cover, beautifully crafted, put together, right? It's one of those items where you say, the thing sells itself.
Absolutely.
To a degree. At least, right?
Absolutely.
You have something poorly put together sitting on the shelf. It ain't selling itself.
I was saying, you walk past.
You now got to be OG triple A graded seller.
Absolutely.
To sell that product now.
Yes.
Where you probably wouldn't have to had you put more time and money in the front.
So time, money, and research, though.
Yeah, all these things are what equates to what I call currency.
Yes.
Right? Time is currency. Money's a type of currency.
Yes.
So, okay, for those who don't have money or have money but don't want to put that money in, guess what? It's going to cost you your other currency then.
Exactly.
You better be willing to pay up time. You don't have that currency. You don't want to pay up time. Well, you better have knowledge. Knowledge is the other currency.
Yes.
Your knowledge currency better be top notch, Barton. You know what I mean? And you leverage all these three types of currency.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And knowledge I would couple with research, right? Is in that same kind of boat.
That is the same.
It's going to take currency of some sort at the end of the day.
Listen, no, I 100% agree. And can I tell you that prior to, you started to ask a question, or maybe you did ask it and I didn't get to this point in me answering, but the question that I was thinking about was you asked about investing, basically like investing in myself.
Yes.
Like what got me there. What ultimately made me take that leap and spend the money to publish my first book was that I had invested in many other businesses. I had done many other things. I've sold jewelry. I've sold makeup. Yep. I have helped people sell books. And I had done this, like investing in other people's businesses, into the multi-level marketing world. Yep. And when I've done those things well. Yep. People wanted me on their team because they were like, you have a certain aura about you.
Her hustle currency is fire.
Listen. Yeah. And I always did well in those businesses. Yes. Always did well in those businesses. And when the passion for me died down, it was like, all right, I'm kind of done with this, whatnot. Yep. And so when I thought about it, I was like, yo, if I'm going to go into this like business world of like doing children's books, I need to invest in myself. And that's what made me do it. Yeah. Because I've invested in so many other people's businesses and got pennies on a dollar back versus doing this for myself.
Yeah. You gotta be willing to do for yourself what people are so used to doing for other people. Yes. I think, you know what I think it is? I think it's a false sense of like, for lack of a better word, like valiant, or like we convince ourselves like having this grossly sacrificial mindset and approach to life is where it's at. It's morally appropriate, correct. It's the thing to do. Right. It's the thing, for those of us who are spiritual or God-fearing, it's the thing God wants me to do. Right. And I'm always reminded of this scripture in the Bible where Jesus is talking to the disciples and they're like, what's the like greatest of all the commandments, right? And he says the part about like love your neighbor. And I hear people quote that part so much without the rest of the verse. Right. And it's the love your neighbor as yourself. Right. That part. It's and word it differently. Right. Love your neighbor to the capacity and extent that you love you. Absolutely. And I think the biggest trick of the enemy, or the biggest trick that people fall in the trap of is like they spend so much time and effort and energy trying to love on people, trying to do for other people, whatever, and neglecting themselves. And what ultimately ends up happening is that work or effort, whatever you're doing, becomes short-lived because you burn out.
Right.
Because you're not refueling or filling you. You're not loving you. Or all the people that you're doing things for, sacrificing for, you end up resenting those relationships.
Right.
Because you didn't love you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so it's kind of like the airplane, the flight attendant instructions when you're on the plane, right? In case of emergency.
Exactly.
Put the mask on you.
On yourself first.
First.
Right.
I know how much you love your kid. but
you
your
ain't
kid,
doing nothing if you
listen. Your kid will not survive this crisis.
Right.
If you only focus on temporarily in that moment getting to them. Exactly. Because what happens when in that split second moment after you put the mask on them, you faint.
Right.
Who's gonna now look after this kid?
Listen.
Because applying the mask is only step one to that child surviving this plane crisis.
Hello.
That's only step one.
Exactly.
We still gotta while the plane is on fire or crashing headed down in the sky, right? You still gotta survive the impact to land or water, and then now who's gonna help get that kid out the seat and into the raft or navigate? It's all these other steps, and we have to realize that loving ourselves, like I believe Christ himself is alluding to in that passage. Loving ourselves is the best thing we could ever do for someone else.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that has become quite the mystery, escaping so many people.
Listen, I had to learn to love myself first. I had to learn to love me first. Many of us walk around the world like that. We don't love ourselves first.
And if you do, you're being selfish.
If you do, you are selfish. You why you so about you? Mm-mm. Like what?
Yeah, no.
Who? If I'm not about me, who is going to be?
And I think it's like the attitude in which you carry that.
Right.
Obviously, right? Because when done appropriately in the way that like we should, the people who are around you or that you interact and do life with, a relationship,
right? That
idea isn't lost in translation. Like they
not.
Get it because they could see the way you carry that mission out.
Absolutely.
It's not like loving myself at the detriment of you, right? It's loving myself first because I love you.
Exactly.
And that's obviously that's shown in your actions and the way you interact. People can see that. And that's what it's like with my wife at home, like with the new baby, right? It's like, let me tell you, like we are so struggling trying to find a schedule. It's navigating hard. Her working from home, me being an entrepreneur, essentially working from between the studio and home. Oh God. Yeah. I tell you, I'm like, I feel sleepy every day. But listen,
it's a balance.
To that end, just yesterday, me and my wife were talking. We're trying to like figure out just navigating like a strategy, a plan, like who's gonna be up with the baby at night, who's gonna do this, because then we got 2 other older kids in the house, and they have to be, wake in, get to school, and all this other stuff.
If you don't mind me asking, what's the age difference between your kids?
So our youngest kid, besides the 3-month-old in the house, is 11.
Woo!
Like the gap is crazy.
So that's the that is the real struggle right there.
So I was talking to my wife and I forgot like what was the catalyst to the conversation. Like there was something that was actually happening that I was trying to do and I couldn't find a time. I wasn't able to finish or something, and she was coming in to get the baby and call herself helping me out and took the baby into the room, and I could see that she was just exhausted. Like I could see it in her eyes, but she was calling herself trying to come in and help me, like so I could do whatever work I was doing. And I was trying to edit another podcast audio. And so I went to her and I said, listen, honey, a couple things. One, just how I see leadership and as a man in my house, like being the head of the house, like just, our traditional values concerning that. The way I approach that is like with this big servant leadership idea. But also with this idea of, me first when it comes to the uphill battles, navigating like the difficulties, especially with me deciding to like not return back to my job and be an entrepreneur, the difficulties that come with that entrepreneurship, like figuring out how to both hustle and still be present as a dad and husband.
Exactly, for your family.
That's on me because I chose to leave what was stable and venture off into the abyss for this passion and dream that my wife stood by me and supports me in. So when I'm conflicted or I'm having a frustrating moment at home trying to figure out at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night how to edit content or figure this out, and you can see that maybe I'm a little bit frustrated, and then you come and you've had a long day at work yourself, you're 9 to 5, and you come in save me. I don't need you to do that. If I need your help, I'll ask you. But for me, as the head of our home, I take full responsibility of the decision I made to be an entrepreneur, because I wouldn't be conflicted right now with this frustrating moment had I just had stuck to my 9 to 5. And so that was me, kind of saying, hey, listen, let me take responsibility of that. And then for you, I need you to make sure you're getting the best amount of rest, mental space or break after your long day at work that you can, because I need you to be both not only the best mom you can be to our newborn and not, considering you're breastfeeding, right? Ooh. I need you also to be the best wife you can be. Absolutely. And if I know I'm allowing you to have your mental space after a long day at work, and I know I'm allowing you to have whether it's you need a nap after work because you're both broken sleep in the night or you're breastfeeding, to me, what might be a temporary frustrating moment for me to figure out how I'm going to get this editing done. And yes, simultaneously, I'm trying to take care of the baby. No. I don't need you to come and take the baby from me. I need you to make sure you refuel in that room, whether it's a mental break, a nap, or whatever, because when I let you do that, you're going to come out of that room the most patient wife you can be, the most patient mom you can be, and the available mom, mentally, emotionally, that you need for this newborn that we have. And so I needed her to see all that. And I think for me, what's like driven me so much, like to just really be like laser focused and like really determined to be successful, doing this kind of full-time entrepreneur thing since the top of the year, has been because I have a wife like that who's willing to just jump up and come and rescue me, right? Even if I'm not asking her to. And I'm like, no, because that's how all her previous relationships, that's all she's ever known. Right? Is like sacrifice. Everybody else. And I'm like, because I know you're willing to do that so much, that's why I'm like gonna bust my behind so that you don't have to, because I already know you're willing to do it. You don't have to prove it to me. You don't have to come and like I know that already. And it's been like just the hardest thing for her to like this year will be 6 years we've been married, for her to kind of come out of and not be so just automatic about, to like really just stop and love on herself, like give her that time to herself. And she's at 6 years in, she's gotten so much better from this year one, but even 6 years in, you could see how having something just ingrained in you and having to do in other relationships for 20 something years or whatever of your life, how hard that could be to just like undo.
Unlearn. I was about to say, you have to unlearn that. Listen, we are very much your relationship, how you were explaining things, is very much mirroring my own. So tomorrow, actually, my husband and I will have been married for 4 years.
Nice. Let's give it up. Hand claps. Yes.
We also have a 3-month-old.
Yes.
And we're very much right now, we're both entrepreneurs. We both work.
What's hubby's name? Can we shout out hubby?
Yes, we can shout out Will.
Hubby, shout out. What up, Will? Hey, man, we got to give the hubby shout outs, man, who out here doing the thing, man. Still believing in marriage at all.
Love it.
Yes.
Love him. But yeah, so we're both entrepreneurs. We also both work 9 to 5s. And
Whoa,
so
that's tough.
We're trying to figure out we're balancing not just our 3-month-old, but our 2.5-year-old as well. And our 3-month-old is actually the good sleeper, and our 2.5-year-old is a terror. She is just up.
Terrible 2 on full alert.
Hello. It's like terrible to sleep. She is the sweetest, the most loving, still having tantrums, but very much in her 2s and regressing because of the sibling, because she's in her own room.
Yeah, she like,
all
listen,
the different things.
Eyes on me, back on me, like it used to, y'all.
And so we're right now trying to strike that balance of who's doing what. Where are we filling in?
Who's tending the who?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, you got this one, I got that one.
Oh man, it's so hard,
and that's during the day, that's at night, and it's just, we still trying to find our individual times for ourselves.
That part.
Our times for our businesses.
Come on now.
Our time for our children and our family time. And it's so much to balance. It's so much to
like
balance.
you guys actually have a lot. Like, because with us we have, all right, we're balancing the time for our individual selves. Time for our quality time as a married couple.
Yes.
Time with, that the baby's needs that are unique.
Right.
Time for family time. Time for me to grind and hustle as the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right. So it's about like 5 things. And before the end of last year came, it was a 6th thing because I was just finishing my degree.
Yeah.
So thank God that was over. But for you guys, on top of those 5, like, you both are entrepreneurs and have not. I cannot imagine you guys. I gotta bring you and your husband back on this.
It's a shared calendar.
Oh yes, the shared calendar is a life hack.
Oh, I don't know if any married couple need anything.
Get on
it's a shared calendar,
shared Google calendar, whatever.
Put it in
have
there.
A shared calendar.
Do the invites. Make sure. Make sure every
game changer.
Game changer.
But is your husband open to like being on podcasts? Would he?
I'll see.
Would you think he'd be open if I was like, hey, both of you guys together? Like, would he feel more cool if you was with him?
Probably not. He's so private. We are very much. I'm not like not private, but like we are
You're
very
more open
opposites. And in that sense, yes.
I would love to just snag a piece of his mind, like, the both of you, on a future episode. You got to tell him like that.
I tell him.
Listen, I'm sure he'll at least listen to this episode, right?
Listen, he's a podcast listener
Will,
as
right?
well. Yes,
Will,
yes.
Hey, Will, listen, Will. Hold on. Let me just pause the show for a second. Just talk to you, Will. Will, if you're out there, my name is Frii. I'm sitting here with Trish. We're having a good time, but she's telling me about the stuff you guys are navigating. That's got to be crazy, bro. And the way that we're navigating in our house, that's with just one of us being an entrepreneur, man. I can't imagine the stress load, the things you have to mitigate in your home. I would love to just, not only myself, just to get a piece of your brain and some strategies you're learning just as a husband, as a dad. But I think our audience would love to also just hear from you. It'd be a wealth to gain from just hearing it, just the voice of a man in general, of a husband. Like, we tend to not really be the talkative ones in a general sense, but we love to hear from you. I'd love to have you and your wife come back on the show, Will. Please, pretty please. All right. That's my plea. I'll leave it there.
Listen.
So hopefully he hears that and he's moved in his spirit.
We'll see. What I will say is, how we have balanced things is, these are our family businesses. Like, it might be yours and it might be mine, but we're gonna do this as a family. So he runs his own coaching business, and he's at the forefront. But I'm there Like
Yes.
we bounce ideas off of each other. We like he has a partner that he runs his business with. But when I don't say, it's the two of them make the final decision, but I be listening like, y'all sure?
Yes.
And similarly, when we were every event that I'm at, like he's typically there. And if he's not there, he got both of the girls at home.
Was he at Black Wall Street?
I'm trying to think if he was there at that point in time. He definitely came.
Okay.
But we had our oldest one was sick.
Yep.
Earlier in the day.
Somebody got to tend to the sickly.
So
the sick and the shut-in.
She was just getting over a little something. So we knew she needed like that afternoon nap.
Okay.
So like she went down early for a nap and then came back and then came like a little later in the day. So I'm not sure if they were there at that point in time. But I had a little one strapped to my chest and my dad was there, my mom was there for parts. So it was just like
fire.
It was me, my mom and my daughter, and then me, my dad and my daughter, and then my husband came with the other daughter. And it's a family thing. Gotta make it work.
You got to. So before we wrap up, as we get near the end of the show, each episode, right, we do this thing, two things. One, we try to go over what I call the 3 Fs.
Yes.
Faith, family, and finance.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, what's one thing in this current season in your life that you're learning in each one of those categories? And to give more context, faith could be like whether it's spiritual or faith in yourself.
Yes.
Or it could so faith, family, and then as it pertains to finance in the context of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Finance. Okay, so let's start with the first one. This season in your life, what's something new you're learning in the area of faith?
When you said all 3, my mind automatically went to all 3, but trusting myself.
Trusting myself.
Having faith that I'm going to make the right decision. Even though I know, like I said, like I plan things, so I'm like to the T. But knowing and trusting that I'm going to make the right decision. So having faith in me, and then if I do mess up, having faith that I'm gonna fix it. So I'll say that. Yeah.
Are you? Would you consider yourself a woman of godly faith or a higher power?
Yes, I'll say I'm spiritual.
Spiritual?
Yeah, I'll say I'm spiritual. I pray and I talk to God, but I'm not in the church or anywhere else.
That's usually the case for a lot of people who say, hey, at least I'm spiritual. I don't necessarily have a particular religion per se. But the thing I always say, I'm a Christian. Being a Christian. Independent creative, serial creative, whatever you want to call it. I'm big on like people not sitting around and just thinking. The practical piece to their faith is them sitting still, waiting for something to fall from the sky.
Oh, God, no.
Like you have to put your feet to the ground.
Oh, yes.
And
when I say,
and then like you have the serenity after you've done all the part you can.
Exactly.
That then I look to the sky. I look for what I can't do in my own capacity that I've exhausted or attempted to do.
And that's where that faith in me comes in.
Yeah.
That is where I'm like, I have faith that I have researched, that I have done every step that I can to get me to the point of launch.
Yes. I've done all I could do.
I've done all that I can do.
That's why I've said, somebody once asked me, like, when I used to, before the pandemic, I did a lot more traveling, doing spoken word performances. And a question like someone at least would always ask me backstage or right before I came on stage would always be, all right, you're the next person up, or you got 5 more minutes. You ready? And my response would always be, I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Exactly.
I'm as ready as I'm going to be. I've done all that's possible in this moment for me to be ready.
Right.
Or as ready as possible. Now, if by ready you mean, do I not have a heightened sense of things? Do I not have slightly, some anxiety or jitter?
Exactly. Am I nervous? Am I like,
I have all those things.
Always going to be
What
there.
I'm saying is, I've done anything possible. I've prepared, I've rehearsed, I've done everything possible to be as ready as possible. The rest is just sheer existence or a phenomenon I have to contend with, being in this fleshly shell that's going to be there. That's not going to go anywhere. And it's the thing for me that reminds me, no matter how high or how many accolades I get, that I'm still just another human being like the next person. I am not this, higher than thou. Like, I can look down on everybody else. Like, I tell people who are like new performers or up and coming artists, I'm like, listen, that those jitters, that like, rapid heartbeat or increased heart away. I'm like, I've been doing this thing for 10 plus years, and I don't care how big the crowd is, how small the crowd is, I am still like, oh, here we go. I told you I'm an educator. I said like the program that I run, before I was a director in that program, like I started out just as a volunteer in the program, and I've like worked my way up. And I tell, like, now I lead a staff of students, and I tell my staff, I'm like, y'all, it don't matter how many times I've done this, and I'm one of those people that I'm in. I can never be fully detached from my program. I want to be able to see how the inner working, like how it's working on a regular basis. And so I tell them all the time, like, I've been doing this since 2009, since 2010. I've run the program since 2011. And every time, every new year that we have, every school year that starts, I get nervous stepping in front of a class of students. And these kids are in kindergarten. They in elementary school, and they make me nervous. Yeah. And I tell my staff, like y'all, those nerves, like we've done lesson planning. We've done all these different things to make sure, you know what, we are prepared. Yeah. And I am still nervous. So it's not that for me is like, it's not going to go away, but that's not going to go away. But like, make sure that you are prepared enough that, those nerves aren't going to take over what you've already prepared for. Fire. Like family. Yeah. Next category. What are you learning in the area of family these days? Balance. There's probably so many of us. This was what's the Family Feud, right? If they polled the audience or certain, exactly. Balance would probably be the number one answer. Balance is the number one answer. Yes. Ding. Fire. And that's with everything you guys already heard her say. Yes. Told you they juggling over there. We are juggling a lot. Finance. What are you learning these days in the entrepreneur context? In the entrepreneur context, I am learning to invest in me. Whether that's the class that I need or I see something and I'm like, I really want to learn that, or that'll be beneficial. Not being like, I can't afford it. Because we afford many things. We afford the things we want. All right, now, don't step on nobody's toes. I think you're stepping on toes now. Be careful now. I don't want nobody to be... I have taken the stance that if I am going to better my business, if I'm going to grow my business, if I'm going to be here beyond just the 1 year mark, I have to get better. I'm a lifelong learner. So like, I need to be learning more in the publishing world. I have yet to take a class on marketing. I've gotten marketing resources. I've paid for those different things, but I need to take a class, and I know that's what's coming up next for me. Mm-hmm. And so financially, I'm preparing for that because I'm going to pay for it, and that's why I said I'm not confident being marketing for anyone else. Yeah. Because I'm doing, like, people are looking at me like, girl, you doing your thing, so I'm gonna send somebody your way for this and for that, and I'm like, I'm still learning. So I see your book out there. It's out there, but I don't have a system. Yeah. But the learning part is that what I realize is that there's so many layers to learning, right? And what essentially people are saying when they're sending people your way is saying, hey, we understand that you're still seeking knowledge in that area. However, the knowledge you do have is above that which someone else has. That's or very many true. People. That's very true. So what I started doing, I actually have to prepare to actually have one this weekend, but we've had two so far right out of this studio for small businesses or local entrepreneurs in the area. We have what I call intimate, sort of like a guess you could call it a talk.
Yeah.
Here on the weekend, Saturday morning, every other weekend, called Minding My Business, a creative think tank.
Love it.
So I put it out on Eventbrite. I open it up to the whole public.
Okay.
Because it's you see how small the studio space is.
We
only open it.
Right.
We only open it up to 6 spaces.
Okay.
Every other week, and we, iron sharpens iron. We share information with one another. We we celebrate small victories, wins with one another. And we have some kind of like some business or success entrepreneur type self-help books that I have in our closet here that I'll pull like an excerpt from, and we'll kind of like deliberate and kind of chew on it together as a group. How we're applying it to ourselves. And again, it's that whole concept. Like I said, it's you might not have arrived at the place of knowledge you want for yourself, but you have something that could be of value and fruitful to someone else who's not where you are.
That's very
and
true.
So don't discount that on your journey. Lastly, we end with what is actually the free lunch that our title goes by, is the free food for the soul that we offer the listener.
Absolutely.
Like lunch edifies the body. What's something you want to leave our audience with that can edify their soul before we leave? Either something that we shared and talked about on the show so far, or something totally new that pops fresh in your mind. What's something you want to leave the audience with? You can take your time. I'll edit out all the silence.
Good.
Yes, because I like people to get take their time to actually think of what they want to leave people with as the final word.
I prepared for this and thought about this because I've listened to the podcast, and I don't know what I want to say.
Hey, take your time.
I want to have people lean into your passion. I want people to lean into your passion. We tend to be passionate about, many people are passionate about things, a lot of things. You can be passionate about a lot of things. Find what you are most passionate about, I'll say, and lean into that. And it might change. It might change from time to time. And lean into it. And if you need to change, like here's what I really say. Many people feel shameful if they have to end something. If you have to like pull back on something that you've put out there.
Yes.
Do not feel shameful about that. You start, you stop.
Why?
You switch.
Why do you say that?
Because who's the audience that's controlling what you should do for yourself? For me,
what you need.
My happiness, exactly.
Basically.
My happiness is what drives me. My happiness is what has always driven me. And so if I am happy doing something, and whether that means I need to change from one thing to another, that is what leads what I am doing at that moment. I want Aspen's Library to be something that I am passionate about for years, which is why I'm willing to invest, which is why I'm willing to learn, and why I have 20 children's book titles written in my, the titles are there. Whether the stories ain't there yet, but the titles are there. And it's because I always, from time to time, I go back to those titles and say, okay, which one can I start writing? Like I want to keep feeding that passion. And so your passion might change from time to time, but lean into it.
Lean into your passion. Yes. And if you put something out that you feel like you have to stop or retract, that's okay.
That's okay.
Yo,
that is okay.
You heard it from Trish, y'all. Let the people know where they can find you on social media, website, plug in all of the plugs possible.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram as Aspen's Library, and I'm gonna spell that out, y'all, because
we'll have the hyperlinks in the description of this episode.
Can I still spell it out?
Oh no, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna spell it out, y'all, because I was one of those parents that put an extra couple of extra letters in my child's name. And
Okay.
so, Aspen's Library is named for my daughter.
Yes.
So we just going to plug that. And I feel confident in saying that I like that she got extra letters. It is ASPE, N is in Nancy, ES, period, library. So Aspen's Library. And that's where you'll find us at on Instagram. And our website is also www.aspenslibrary.com. And you can find all of our books. I post different books that we feature. And that's where you will also find our publishing services as well.
Fire. Yes. Fire. Make sure you guys lean into your passion. Don't be afraid to bring something back or bring it to a pause, a halt that you've put out there. You know what you need to be happy with your product, with your service, with yourself. It's free lunch, free food for your soul, y'all. Peace.